Get started. Hi, I'm Ketan Babaria. Everybody caffeinated? There's some coffee outside. Hi. So again, I'm Ketan Babaria. I'm the product manager for the digital goods product, and along with me here is Khurram Khan. He is also a product manager for the digital goods solution. Some of you, how many saw the demo yesterday for the digital goods, which Osama did? All right, maybe that's what got you here. It's going to be exciting. It's a pretty fascinating the way we have come up with the solution. I'll tell you a little bit of story behind it. And let me walk you through the agenda real quick, and then we'll dive into the content. So we'll talk about the background of the product. How did we come up with it? We'll talk a little bit about the different flavors of digital goods. So what you saw yesterday was the experience. And we'll tell you how can you get to that experience using two of our product lines. And we'll talk about how do you choose one over the other, what are the criteria that you may want to use, and then we'll walk you through the process of signing up for that. Finally, we'll end up with the integration step and user experience. We'll show you what it looks like. And then we have one of our partners show you their integration. So we have Ron Neo from Tyler Projects. He's one of the lead developers in that team who actually integrated this on live. And he's one of our premier beta partners who helped us test this product. So, and we'll leave last 15 minutes or so for Q&A. If somebody has a burning question in the middle, we may take one or two questions, but we'll hold off for most of the questions till the very end. All right? So with that, some of you may already know that PayPal is already pretty big in digital goods already. So in the social gaming space, we are more than 50% of the direct payments. So the natural question is, OK, you already are doing so well. Why did you come up with this new product? All right. So as a part of the product design process, we keep on talking to our customers. We keep talking to our merchants. We keep talking to the developers. And there were certain things that we constantly heard from our digital goods merchants, developers, and customers. One of the big things is, specifically for merchants, we have a micropayment pricing product, right? So we charge 5% plus 5 cents. And then we also have a regular pricing. So it's usually 2.9% plus 30 cents. So in order to make use of that, developers are setting up two different merchant accounts, one for micropayments, other for macro payments. And they used to decide on the runtime, OK, I want to use this merchant account for the macro payment pricing and this one for micro payment pricing. And they were constantly trying to optimize that behavior. So that was a big pain point for them. They did not want to maintain two different products just to get benefits from our micro payment pricing. Other thing which we heard pretty constantly is do not take my buyer away from my website. How many people have complained about this in the past? How many people think it's a big problem for you guys? Right? So we heard this pretty frequently. And this is more important in case of digital goods. Because imagine that you are playing a game on one of the social gaming sites. And you click on, I want to buy this pink tractor. You click on that. And then you're redirected to some other site. You complete the transaction. You come back. And the page has refreshed. So now you have to start from the beginning again. Some developers do a very clever way of maintaining your session and bringing you back to where you left off. But still, it's a lot of work. So that was clearly one of the big needs that we heard from our developers and merchants. And finally, do not show me the complexity of the payments, right? So as some of you may know, we are available in 190 countries. We have support 24 currencies. And even then, the developers wanted us to make sure that the overall experience is cohesive. It's not putting extra steps in the middle, making sure a person who is trying to purchase something in US has as good an experience as somebody who is trying to purchase the same thing from UK, to make the overall experience seamless. And a bunch of other stuff. But the confluence of this, all this feedback, we have created this new digital goods product, which you saw yesterday. So let me quickly talk about the benefits of this product, and then we'll get into the how do you get to integrate this product. So overall, given that this whole thing is in context, this will result in the increased conversion for the buyers. So by conversion, I mean the number of people who complete the transaction divided by the number of people who start the transaction. So given that we have very limited number of steps, you can practically finish the transaction in 2 clicks. And that is what we have launched with this as a part of this project. Secondly, you no longer have to maintain 2 different accounts in order to take benefit of the new pricing. We'll be on your side. We'll automatically adjust the fees for you, whichever is more beneficial. So for example, if somebody is purchasing a $100 worth of article from your website, we'll charge you 2.9%. And if somebody is purchasing a $1 worth article, we'll charge you 5 plus 5%. So we will charge you the lower of the fees dynamically. You do not have to worry about adjusting which account this whole transaction should go through. Then behind all of this is our world-class fraud management, right? So PayPal is leader in payment fraud management. So all the things that we have all supported throughout our history and all the things that we have learned over a period of time are already built into this product. You automatically get the benefit of all the things that we have learned from the fraud and risk that we have tackled in the past. Finally, we also support, this product is available in all countries where PayPal is supported. So we are in 190 countries, and we support 24 currencies. All of that come inbuilt as a part of this project. And of course, we talked about this previously, but we have made sure that this product is backward compatible. So if you are using Express Checkout or Adaptive Payments today, the integration is Snap. It's literally one extra parameter being set in the APIs and a little bit of JavaScript that you need to add to your website, which Khurram will show you later in the presentation. But we make sure that it works if you are already using Express Checkout or Adaptive Payments. So it's very easy for you to integrate. So that's the background. So we have 2 product lines which supports the digital goods solution. One is Express Checkout, and the other one is Adaptive Payments. How many people here have Express Checkout integrated? Anybody? Adaptive Payments? OK. So then I'll walk you through how do you choose one over the other. So if you're starting from scratch, this will help you understand which product supports what. For the most part, both products support the features that are available in digital goods. So in-context checkout is supported in both. Dynamic pricing is also supported in both. One thing which is not supported in Adaptive Payments is subscription and recurring payments. So if you're trying to have your buyer purchase a weekly, monthly, daily subscription passes, that is only available in Express Checkout. Express Checkout does not support JSON integration at this point of time. And the other difference is Adaptive Payments supports multi-party payment. So by that, I mean if you want your buyers to purchase from multiple merchants and then settle it once in one transaction, then Adaptive Payments support that, but Express Checkout doesn't. So the multi-party payments is supported in Adaptive Payments. Similarly, if you have a need to take the payment and split it across different parties, very similar to the earlier model, but there are 2 different variations to that. One is split payments, where you are splitting the payments in one transaction, versus chain payments, when you pay one and then you pay the another. And Khurram will talk a little bit more about that when he talks about the use cases. But that, if you have such a use case, that is supported in Adaptive Payments. So let me walk you through a few use cases for Express Checkout. So for example, if you want to collect direct payments in the social networking space, if you want to allow your customers to purchase in-game currency. So you may have heard that Facebook just announced that they will start using this product to allow their buyers to purchase Facebook credits on Facebook. So such similar use cases, when you want your users to purchase in-game currency, or if you want them to purchase in-game artifacts, then Express Checkout allows you to do that. Similarly, in publishing and media, you can allow your buyers to purchase one item at a time, or you can allow your buyers to purchase a recurring payment. So you can have them sign up for monthly, weekly, yearly subscription for the item that you're selling. In the software download and software as a service, again, you can allow your buyers to purchase one item at a time for a download or a service. Or you can also have them sign up for a subscription model where they are paying a set amount every time period. You can also have your buyers sign up for consumption-based billing. So what that means is, over a month, they consume, let's say, $10 or $12 worth of things that you're selling. Then you can charge them $12. Next month, they have consumed $5. So then you can go ahead and charge them $5. So these are the use cases which are supported using Express Checkout. And finally, the plain vanilla shopping cart, when you're allowing your buyers to purchase one item at a time from a single merchant. So these are the typical Express Checkout use cases. And now Khurram will talk about the stuff that Adaptive Payments allows you to do.
Thank you, Kaden. Wow, PayPal and digital goods. It's live. It was a vision beginning of this year, and finally we made it. So Kaden walked you guys through the Express Checkout use case, and I'll walk you through the Adaptive Payment use case. So, obviously when we talked about digital goods in general, we looked at the convenience, we looked at the UI experience, we looked at micro pricing, we looked at, intelligent pricing so that you guys don't have to worry about, which pricing am I going to be charged based on the purchase my consumer makes. So we fixed all that. At the same time, as product managers, what we also want to do is to enable this in different product lines, right? As a consumer, when he comes to your website and goes through a purchase experience, he's not going to know that, you as a developer has integrated Express Checkout or Adaptive Payment. So one of the things that we product managers do is, number one, keep consistency, right? The consumer should not really see any difference regardless of what experience he goes through. So that's one of the things that Kaden and myself were ensuring that, when we turn this capability on different product lines, it has to be consistent. So to walk you through the Express Checkout, let's talk about Adaptive Payments. There is a session about Adaptive Payments, by the way, at 3 p.m. today. So if you guys are not familiar with Adaptive Payments, you can take advantage of that. But anyway, Adaptive Payment has a capability called parallel payments. Essentially what it is allows you to make payment to multiple recipients at the same as a part of the same transaction. So you may as a developer have started this new marketplace, and then you're encouraging other people to publish content on your marketplace. So as a consumer, I might go through that marketplace and I want to actually, buy 3 different articles, but that may not necessarily belong to one merchant. It may belong to 3 different merchants. So when the consumer goes through the payment, and you as a developer does not really have to make 3 separate API calls, and it's a bad experience. So what you can take advantage of this parallel payments capability and have the consumer go through one payment flow and be able to pay those 3 recipients at the same time. Another use case I can think of that a lot of developers have been talking to me about is that, hey, is there a way for me to collect money from my consumer at the same time, pay a portion of that to charity organizations? Well, yes, you can do that. So, some of the websites that you guys may have seen, it kind of highlights that every dollar you spend on my website, 5% goes to this charity organization. So let's think about this, right? So you're a developer, consumer comes to your website, I want to download this particular content or song or game. And then when he goes through the payment experience, he's going to see, okay, I'm going to pay $1 to this game, but guess what? So the game merchant is actually end up getting 90% out of that, and 10 cents goes to this good cause. So you can do that with parallel payments. Another use case with the other capability is chain payments. So essentially what this is a lot of developers, they say that, hey, you know what, we want to actually open a marketplace or an app store where we do not want to be the merchant of record. Rightly so, because these are developers. They have expertise in developing, good products and good capability, but they do not want to deal with all the chargebacks, be the merchant of record. So with chain payments, what you can essentially do is, open up this app store-like model where consumer is actually coming in and downloading a song or content. he makes a payment, but behind the scene, you can actually take your portion, right? So you're not really in the picture to begin with. The consumer, on his a transaction, he's going to see that I paid this merchant X or this application Y on your website, but guess what? As a part of that payment, a portion of it is going to you behind the scene. So that's another way you guys can monetize from the chain payments. It does not have to be a specific dollar amount. You can play by the year. The adaptive payments is configurable enough that you guys can actually set up that transaction percentage or the amount at the time of payment. So you do not really have to stick with one model, which is another good advantage of that. So we kind of talked about that. So shopping cart. So essentially what we did was, if I go back to the use case of buying from one merchant or buying from multiple merchants, a lot of times you see that there might be multiple items that are sold by one merchant. So let me give you an example. So if you go to a site, right? Let's say it's music.com. You go to the website and you notice that you have your favorite artist, and then you want to buy 3 songs from that favorite artist, right? Now, each of those songs has a different amount, right? And let's assume at the end of the transaction, before you are ready to pay, you ended up buying 5 songs. And out of those 5 songs, let's assume that 3 of them belong to one artist and the other 2 belong to other artists. So the shopping cart and line item details, what you can actually do is, break that down into individuals. So when you pass this information as a part of the API, you break it down as different items, line items, and then there's a cost associated with each of those items. And you will see an overall cost that you are paying merchant X $5. Out of this $5, 80 cents is going to song number 1, 75 cents are going to song number 2, and so forth. So that's another capability you can use. And you can combine that with parallel and chain combinations. So all these are, you can actually mix and match. And then as a part of the API, as I said, that you can pass all these different parameters, the item name, description, amount, tax. Some state does charge tax for digital content, while others are still debating. However, we built that capability, and you guys can leverage from it as well. Since now you kind of understand at a high level which product might be a best fit for you, or if you're already using one of these products, how you can enable that. But what is it that's going to take you to be, to apply for this micro pricing capability in the digital goods, so that, you can start, building your solutions around it? It's not too difficult. So I'm actually going to walk you through 3 different ways you can enable this capability. One is if you were in Express Checkout. If you want to start, Express Checkout is the right solution for you, and if you want to actually start from scratch, how do you open it up? How do you open the account and opt in for it? Then I'll show you the adaptive payment piece. And then finally, if you already are existing account holder, regardless of which product, I'll tell you how you can actually opt in for digital good pricing. So for now, let's just talk about Express Checkout. So let's assume Express Checkout is the solution for you. You start off at PayPal.com. Select the business tab, and then since you are signing up, just use the sign up link. You sign up. You got to have a business account for digital goods, by the way. So you select your business account. You have a drop down. You're going to see digital goods as an option. You pick that up, and then you fill up your business account information. That's pretty normal process that we asked for today. Nothing has changed. And then once you fill that information up, you actually land on the account overview page, and you click on My Business Setup. So you land on the My Business Setup page. If you click on Start Now, you are actually taken to the solution page, and you're going to see micropayments on the extreme right as an option. So today, this thing does not exist. It will be rolled out pretty soon, but this is where you would go in and sign up for the micro pricing piece. So you click on Learn More. You get on the the pricing structure of it, and then once you agree to the terms and conditions, and then sign up, and you're all set. So no, it's not cumbersome. It's pretty straightforward. We don't require you to send us like 100-page document to ensure that, hey, we would need all this information for us to enable account. Pretty straightforward. The only difference between Express Checkout and Adaptive Payment is that from Express Checkout, you started off at PayPal.com, whereas for Adaptive Payments, you can start off at X.com. Essentially, from that point on, all the steps are pretty much the same. It's just the entry point which is different. You start off at X.com, sign up for the business account, and the rest of the flow is pretty same. It's even simpler if you already have a PayPal account. All you got to do is just log into your PayPal account, and then, go to your business setup, go to the setup option page, and then opt in for micro pricing. So this is what's going to enable your account to start transacting digital goods payments. So pretty straightforward. If there aren't any questions at this point, I'll move forward, and then we can take the questions towards the end. Yes? So the question, I can just repeat the question. The question is that, is this going to happen very soon? Is it going to happen before Christmas? And we are totally with you. The objective and the goal is to enable this so that you guys, I know that Christmas time and the Thanksgiving time is the maximum, payment volume that anybody want to, make use of. So we understand those timings. And I don't want to really, put my foot down and say this is the release date that we are thinking about. But I can perhaps, Caden, if you can allow me to share, that it should be done before that. Let's put it that way. That is our objective, because we want to get these tools out to you guys so you can use it, potentially the best time of the year. That's it.
I think this should be on. Okay. The only thing that I'd like to add to that is whenever we launch products, we want to make sure that we are performing better than what we already have. So towards that end, we are continuously doing tests. We are continuously partnering with some other leading merchants online and making sure that we are tracking to whatever metrics that we have considered as a successful metrics for our merchants and for ourselves. So our goal is, as soon as we reach those metrics and as soon as we are able to cross those whatever limits that we have set for ourselves, we will launch it. So it's not time-based. It is more performance-based at this time. So we want to make sure that if you're moving from Express Checkout to this new solution, it's net beneficial to you. Yep. So that is what we are targeting to. And that's why we do not have a set timeline. As soon as we reach those goals, we will go live.
Yeah. But we do have that objective, right? So, and as Caden mentioned, right, it's not really time-based and performance-based. We don't want to call it beta and keep it live for like a year, like some of our other friends do, right? And then keep iterating on it. We want to make sure that the product, really works well for all of us. Anyway, so going back to the presentation. So now, since you have opted in for digital goods pricing, let's assume that you can actually, you're ready to do this. Now, what exactly do you have to do in terms of the JavaScript piece that we talked about earlier? Not a big deal, not rocket science. You have your website. What you're going to do is place the Pay with PayPal button, and behind this button is going to reside a JavaScript code that will actually invoke that in-context payment experience. So let's look at a sample code for adaptive payments. This is how it looks like. Pretty straightforward JavaScript code. You have an action form, and then that actually will trigger the in-context experience to come out. And then for Express Checkout, this would be the JavaScript code. This information will be published pretty soon on our website, and you guys can actually grab it from there. Again, it's not difficult. If you guys are a developer, this should just be a walk in the park for you. So once you embed the JavaScript button in your website, let's talk about the experience part, right? So what's going to happen is when the consumer goes in and clicks Pay with PayPal on your website, instead of getting redirected as we do today, you will see a mini browser pop up, right? So the mini browser is going to pop up. This is the very first time that the user is going through a buying experience, and that is the reason, the mini browser. And I'll also show you the other experience for returning customers. So you see the mini browser that popped up. You put in your email and password. There's a checkbox, if you guys can notice, which says skip the login page for future purchases on this computer. So what it means is that, hey, these are like $1 or $2 content. I trust this merchant, I trust this developer. I don't want to be dealing with, login every time I actually have to buy like a small item. Well, you can check that box for future purchases. You go through your login and payment experience. As you could see, this is a parallel payment example. You have a game and you have a music and that total cost, and you're using your balance to make that transaction. And then, once you're done, you land on the thank you page, and then you close it. So the mini browser is just going to close, and then you as a developer can actually, display a different button, install, or whatever that product may be. Now let's assume that he went through the experience. He actually checked that skip the login page button, and he wants to come back and he wants to buy more stuff from your website. Well, the experience is even better now. So he clicks pay with PayPal. This time, what happens is he does not necessarily need login anymore. He skipped it, right? So essentially, once he clicks pay with PayPal, you will see a light box. And this is what we were talking about, right? He's not leaving your website. It's not a mini browser. It's the same browser, but we have a light box that takes the user directly on the review page, right? So he's on the review page. He kind of sees the same experience, and then he clicks pay. He's on the thank you page, and once he's done, the light box disappears, and you are back to your site. So the consumer is pretty much on your site. He never left the site. It's a way, much better experience than you guys are used to doing at PayPal. Any questions? Okay. All right, so I think it may be worth spending time on the communication model. Since you guys are developers, you understand that, if you have integrated with APIs, if you're already using one of those two products, it's very simple. What we use is, let's assume this is a buyer, and let's assume DigiMerchant is a merchant, right, who sells digital content. So what happens is that you as a buyer, you go to this person's website that you guys will build, and then I want to buy certain songs. So essentially what happens is you as a developer is going to make a pay request API call. You pass in your API credentials, your information, which kind of comes in the request envelope. And once we receive that information, we will generate a pay key or a token, depending on what product you use, and we will send it back to you guys. Now, once you get that token, okay, you got your response from the original request, then you will invoke that experience. So essentially, the guys, you will launch the mini browser. So the consumer is going to go at the mini browser or the light box, depending if he's a returning customer or if it is a first-time experience. So he goes through that login experience and go through the review and the thank you page. And once it's done, the money is going to move from the buyer's account back to your account. And then once the payment is done, the mini browser will close. The merchant is back on your site. And then we will send email notification that goes to the merchant as well as to the buyer. So nothing has changed on this side. The only difference is the experience, because now the mini browser pops out as opposed to a classic redirect. So with that, I think we're ready for a quick demo. So let me actually call in Ronnie, or should we just go through the slides, I think? Okay. So Ronnie, if you can come on the stage real quick, and then we can, so I think, Caden, you have it set up, right? Which one is it? This one, right? Full presentation mode, I think, right? Good. Just go through the clicks. Yep.
Okay. Hello, everyone. We have a chance to integrate the digital good payment into our system, which actually helped us a lot immensely. Previously, we actually have to direct the user to our payment website, where they have to log into our payment website. From there, they choose PayPal, and then log into PayPal somehow. So there's they have to go through 2 or 3 different websites to get to buy our virtual currency. So right now, it's actually in-game in Facebook itself. So the whole thing is still in Facebook. So they just have to click on Reload Opco, which is our in-game currency. From there, we bring them to a page inside our game itself. So in this page, they actually get to choose different payment channel. One of the channels is PayPal. So when they click on Pay with PayPal right here, we actually pop up a light box, which has the PayPal login system, which is an in-contact system. So when you click on login, pop-up window will come up, allowing the user to log into their PayPal account. This is for the first-time login. So in case if they want to for a faster checkout like here, they just click on here and they can skip this step. From here onwards, after they log in, they will have to review what they're about to buy, stuff like that. One more review page for them to look at. And then once it's done, it goes straight back in the game. So they are not brought out of the game. They still get to continue playing what they have been doing so far in the game.
Cool. Thanks, Ronnie. So what you just saw here was one of the demonstrations of how you can include the in-context payment within a game. And there are multiple use cases where you can use a similar experiences. For example, when you are trying to purchase an article from Financial Times, for instance, where you can just add a button, you can click on Purchase Now. And if the user has chosen to remember themselves on that machine, they can finish the transaction in literally 2 clicks. So for a regular user who comes to your website pretty frequently, they can complete the transaction very quickly. With that, we'll open it up for questions. Guys, anybody has any question? Yes, please. At the back, yeah.
Well, it's a very quiet crowd today. What's up with that?
It's 1 o'clock, right after lunch.
Well, I kept telling Keaton that let's not have the session right after lunch. Let's either have it earlier in the day or later in the day, but go ahead.
I have 2 specific questions. First one is when the first time user comes to buy, a new mini browser opens to log in. So how do we handle pop-up blockers there? Because that's going to be a huge issue. The whole idea is to make this a much seamless experience for a user, but if that window never opens, I've lost the sale to begin with. Second, that's more technical and separate issue, is the JavaScript code that we're putting to have the button is just putting a form tag. How do we handle ASP.NET, which doesn't allow form tags on the page because there's already one form tag? Those are the 2 questions.
Okay. So let me take the first and then you can take the second one.
I was actually trying to say the same thing, but yeah.
Now, we have a lot of experts here. So one of the guys who actually did the development is right behind us. So to answer your first question, the pop-up blocker, so we have solved that problem. So one of the things is that if a user take an active action of clicking on a button, then pop-up blockers don't block that pop-up. And that's what you may have seen earlier when you click on login. The first thing that shows up is a light box, and then when you click on login, then the mini browser shows up, and that is not blocked by the pop-up blocker. Regarding the second question, how are you going to handle that in ASP?
Yeah, I think what I would recommend is that right after the session, there are engineers who actually did the JavaScript piece of it, and I would love to have you connect because I don't want to make something up. I would have you talk to them directly. As far as I know, there were certain developers who actually got this up and working over the weekend. So it's not difficult. And these were existing users. So it's not, they started from scratch. They're adaptive payments or express checkout users. So they got that snippet code and then they put it in their application. I don't know if you attended the session yesterday, the keynote session. There was somebody up on the stage who actually showed you the JavaScript code and the PHP code on the main stage. But anyway, I'll connect with you right after the session. Yeah.
Already has a form tag, and HTML specification says you cannot have more than one form tag on the same page. So it's a ASP.NET specification.
Okay, so we'll definitely have you connected right after the session, and I'll be here downstairs after the session. Let's connect.
Yes, please.
Yeah, when it comes to digital goods and small payments, I was just wondering if a user then opts to, let's say, go to their PayPal account but then pay with Visa or MasterCard, and it's only a 99-cent purchase, do you facilitate any sort of aggregating or flows like iTunes does, where they only charge you after 3 weeks or something like that, so that you minimize the credit card charges?
So the way we have built the solution is that is something you don't have to worry about. So we just give you the pricing, 5 plus 5, you don't have to worry about your consumers' funding sources, so to speak. So once you integrate the solution, we will charge you 5 plus 5. So you do not have to worry about collecting all of those and sending it to us in one go. So you don't have to worry about it.
So you're actually guaranteed, just to rate what Keaton was saying, you're guaranteed your 5 cents or 10 cents transaction. So PayPal is going to give it to you. Now, what we do at the consumer end, whether aggregation, pre, post-pay logic, whatever that may be, is agnostic to you. So even if you're sending a consumer through a 50 cents purchase, you get a 50 cents instantly from PayPal. Yeah, which is, again, actually it's a good question you brought this up, because a lot of people did ask us, how's PayPal making money? So, but that's not the objective for us to lose money and keep everybody happy. We also have to make sure that we are, competitive in the market. So, yes. Oh.
Hi, I guess I don't have to stand up, but I will. Once you get to the confirmation page and the customer's completed the transaction, are we checking for a PayPal cookie or something to prevent anyone else from getting to that page? Or what is the actual protection that PayPal is offering, or the facilities that PayPal is offering to keep that download page protected from other people?
So go ahead. So the download page is your own site, and consumers do not know they cannot see where they are being taken to. So as long as you have your website where users go to protected, then your information will be protected. Unless if there is anything more to that than that question. So at the end of the flow, so that is done by the APIs. So we send you a message back that this payment was completed, and then you can just go ahead and give the item to the user.
There is a notification process called instant payment notification that is sent to the URL that you specify, and that's how you know that a payment was done.
So if somebody comes back to that page and they've already paid for it, are we supposed to retrieve that instant payment notification from the database or something?
So there's also return URLs, right? So you actually pass as a part of the payment request, at least in the adaptive payment side, you pass as a success URL and a cancel URL. So obviously when the person goes through the right clicks, right, the pay now and then close, that means that we will return him back to the success URL, which will be closing the mini browser itself and landing you on the page. You do get instantly notified through that IPN, the instant payment notification, and you also have other APIs that you can follow up with to get instant status, which is outside this original response. But if you need more details, I can get you connected with the engineers who are actually sitting at the back. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have 2 questions. So the first one is, what platforms will this work on? Will it work on, obviously, the PC, iOS, Android, then what about like BlackBerry and Windows Mobile? And then, so now that you have more choices, as far as using the traditional flow where you leave the merchant site, then you go to PayPal and then come back, so you could do that, or the embedded flow with the mini browser. So now, the merchants have more choices. So which do you recommend? It seems like the mini browser would convert better, but still, I'm sure most companies would want to test the conversion. So can you do both? So those are the 2 questions.
Can you do both? Sorry, let me just make sure I understand.
Like if we want to do an A/B test, so like some set of customers hit the traditional flow, and then another set of customers hit the embedded flow. Can we do that under one
Yes,
account?
you can, and you can use it. You can also do it from the same account. So, and we highly encourage people doing the A/B test to make sure that it's working for them, and we are pretty confident that it will. But we will still encourage you to A/B test and let us know how it works. But yes, clearly you can do that. It's technically feasible. And I think we are out of time, so we'll probably take one more question. In the current release, we are supporting all the major browsers, and it is primarily optimized for the web checkout. So it was primarily designed and optimized for web checkout. I'm not really sure. So it may work on iOS. We have not tested it, but it'll work on Apple and Macs, but on let's say iPad, it's not optimized for that yet. Okay.
All right, so
think we're out of
there are two
time.
gentlemen that are supposed to connect offline. Let's take that offline.
All right.
Well, thank you everybody.
Thank you, guys.
for coming
Thanks
in.
for coming.